Hi, I'm Chris Direwalt, and this is Power Play, or so says the dramatic animation that just took place. So, Internet, I don't know whether you know this, but in 2000, it took a long time to conclude the election. As a matter of fact, it was this week, it was earlier in this week, 16 years ago, that the Supreme Court said, stop, and George W. Bush was declared the winner. Well, it's taking even longer, oddly, in a more conclusive election for Democrats to come around to the idea that, in fact, the most qualified candidate in the history of running for president, breaker of glass ceilings et al., Hillary Clinton, lost to the host of The Celebrity Apprentice. Wah, wah, wah. How does this affect the party? How does this all go? What happens from here? People who know or who will, in a jocose and informative way, speculate, include Charles Hurt. How would you like to be introduced today?
It depends. What does jocose mean?
Humorous.
Okay, yes.
Harambe enthusiast.
Yeah.
What else
definitely.
do you have? Fox News contributor. This is your first appearance.
I believe it is. Yeah.
Yes, on the fake television since becoming a Fox News contributor. Congratulations.
Thank you very much. And Harambe was a Fox News contributor.
He was. It was. Yes, he was a guerrilla correspondent. So Fox News contributor and Washington Times columnist. Author of The Nuclear Option. How do you feel about Harambe, David Drucker?
Big Harambe.
Big Harambe.
I'm all Harambe all the time.
Spirit of Harambe is my Christmas fragrance. David Drucker is senior something?
Senior something at the Washington
At the Washington WashX, and the host of what's the name of the podcast?
Examining Politics. Thank you.
Okay.
I came up with that myself.
All by himself. Then a branding agency charged $10,000. All right, so here's a question. And Drucker, I want to start with you. How much of this folderol from Democrats about faithless electors electing, about the invalid recounts, revote, the Russians, the brief the electors, all of this stuff that doesn't add up in practical terms to a hill of beans, how much of this is actual straw grasping, and how much of it is an effort to delegitimize Trump?
Well, I'm sure that it's all a mixture of all of that.
An ugly, toxic stew of emotion.
I think there are some people in there that are grasping at straws. I think there are some people in there going, obviously, this is a joke, but anything that makes him look
put the hurt on.
Fake president. So we can use our fake news on Faithless Electors to make a fake president. I'm sure they're all about that.
Yeah.
I think the Democratic Party, and I think the serious people within the Democratic Party that I talk to that think about how the party should come back from what was a very devastating election, think this is a waste of time, want to move on to figuring out what they have to do to succeed in 2018 and 2020. And that, I think, can make Democrats feel good, at least that there are serious people that don't want to waste their time. But the serious people are concerned that there's a lot of energy going into all of this stuff. And look, I'd say this. One of my favorite games to play, now that Trump is president-elect and President Obama is on his way out, is one of my favorite games is to play What If Obama.
What if Obama?
But you know what? This is a case where we can play the game What If Trump?
Yeah.
If Clinton had won, and Trump and his people were doing this, I mean, the headlines to no end would they be complaining that Trump was trying to undermine our democracy.
Which, by the way, we should point out, when Trump threatened to do it, and I say this as a citizen, it was gross. You threatened rigged, it's rigged, the system doesn't work, the ballots don't count.
No.
But wait. But now, without any sense of irony, Charles, Democrats are undermining the Electoral College. They're undermining the system. They're asking people to vote against the will. And what I find most amazing is that their complaint is constituted on the fact that voters did not hear enough about Russian involvement. We talked about it tons. Exactly. And it's like, but if there's only been more news coverage.
Right.
Well, there's a lot of things you could say that of.
Yeah, whatever you think about ties or no ties or Rex Tillerson or whatever, all this was litigated before expansively litigated before the election. But I have to say that, the things that, when Donald Trump was talking about this before the election, he was talking about, he was tapping into a real disgust among his supporters with everything about Washington. And so, I think a lot of people, by him saying, look, I don't know if we can trust these people. I don't know. The whole thing is is rigged. The media is rigged. All that kind of stuff. I just
mean the voting machines.
Yeah, I think Chris.
No, I want to hear Charlie.
But the one thing though that I think that the 2 points about Democrats right now. The first is that that the fact that they're doing all of this means that they are not focusing on what they need to be focused on. Which is what the heck happened. This what we discovered is an 8-year collapse of the Democratic Party, and they have a lot of work to do to get that back together without Barack Obama.
Lowest electoral vote since Michael Dukakis.
Yeah.
Okay, so, and even though it's close, it's sort of like in golf. They don't ask how, they ask how many. So, Drucker, one of the challenges for Democrats, Edward Isaac DeVore for Politico.
Yes.
DeVore, he has like an extra ER, or not an extra ER, he has as many ERs as he's supposed to have. But he wrote this piece that should have been crushing, should have been heartbreaking to Democrats about the stupidity, about the obtuseness of the Clinton campaign, as people in Michigan are saying, it's on fire, we are in trouble, please, holy crap, send help. And the Clinton campaign was like, yes, the model does not allow for us to be sending you any resources at this moment, so please refer your questions to Klaus.
Yeah, right. So what we have learned, I'm sorry about that, fake TV.
It chokes him up. When he sees political malpractice, David Drucker gets choked up.
I can't take that. Look, and I was one of the biggest believers that, at the very least, Clinton, the candidate, might be bad, but the campaign apparatus that she set up was doing its job. Mm-hmm. And it turns out that not only did she not do so well, her campaign organization made a lot of miscalculations, and not even the ones, I mean, when you read Isaac's story, they didn't, I mean, everybody makes mistakes. When you win, nobody pays attention. When you lose, there's a spotlight. But they made some very basic blocking and tackling mistakes.
Yes, and it's called massive arrogance. As I wrote, never in history has more been spent to achieve less.
Right, but it's also a case where the models and the data I'm a believer in and are great, but you're supposed to check your work, right? So when I covered Mitch McConnell's Senate race in 2014, he every night had 2 polling tracks plus anecdotal evidence from the field to check his work. They weren't doing that.
No, they lived inside a bell jar in Brooklyn. But
and a media that was telling them everything that they wanted to hear the entire time. So why check their work?
Who believes the media? Come on now.
Those guys are losers. Gentlemen, we thank you for making time for us. And you, Internet Titos, we hope that you will come by for more Power Play again real soon.